94% of Bitcoin has been mined. For the next 100 plus years, 116 years, 2140, I believe, is when Bitcoin will be done in terms of inflation. There's only 6% left to be fought for over the next 116 years. The vast majority of Bitcoin has been mined already. And out of the 19.7 million, we got at least 5 to 8 million lost forever. So the whole world is fighting for something that's very scarce. Very, very scarce. Especially when you have like BlackRock and others that are buying billions upon billions upon billions. So also when you realize this, that Bitcoin is the scarcest asset that we have, you realize this is one that you just keep on holding and accumulating and you don't ever sell. And, you know, we got a lot of examples of that. A lot of companies that are now embracing that, of course. We've heard of Metaplanet in Japan. Now, Japan's largest power company, TEPCO, is mining Bitcoin using surplus energy. A lot of other places are doing the same thing. I mean, everyone wants a piece of Bitcoin. Everyone wants to buy more cheaply while they can before things come back, right? Just really that simple. All right, what about these bullish charts that are flashing buy signal? There are so many. So many. Here's one from Matthew Hyland showing that the weekly RSI is at the lowest level since January of 2023. I'd say that's a pretty telling story because how high was Bitcoin in January 2023? Well, if you look at this, the last time was when Bitcoin was still around $20,000. And the time after that was when Bitcoin was at 27,000, and that was before we rallied to $73,000, right? We are as oversold as Bitcoin at 20 and Bitcoin at $27,000. So I'd say that's a pretty good buy signal right there. If you were just looking at even long term, this is weekly scale, right? We are as oversold as Bitcoin as at $27,000. That is example number one. Example number two here. Joe is saying if you look at bullish divergence on the daily chart, we haven't seen this flash bull since August of 2023. Again, going back to 2023. You see a lot of those bears, right? a lot of bears, a lot of warnings. But since then, we haven't really seen anything. We have a bull signal right now, flashing by. So that's another one. Here's another one, of course. If you're looking at it long term, well, every single cycle, like I've said, every single cycle we see a lot of these like sell-off periods, volatile periods. We see it all the time, okay? But this is just looking at basically these consolidation periods where right before Bitcoin breaks through its previous high, you go through these consolidation periods 3 to 6 months. Every single time. Every single time. And you see RSI actually break down during those times. And then what happens? Then you have that massive parabolic rally, right? And that's coming. That's coming. Here's another one. Just looking at September's overall. September's overall haven't been good, right? Historically, the worst month for Bitcoin and crypto, and for stocks too. We're a week in. We still got 3 more weeks of this. But for the last 4 years, keep in mind, we had Fed Chair Powell raise rates. Not just him. Every country around the world for the last 4 years have raising rates too. Now, for the first time, we will get cuts. Cuts for the remaining of this year, cuts for next year, and possibly the year after that. So even though September has been historically the worst month, hey, that could change, right? And again, what follows historically the worst month, historically the best month, October, is when Bitcoin has its greatest month ever. And that leads into the Santa rally, right? So that's also coming up. The rainbow price chart, this has been pretty good in terms of finding out when a fire sale is happening, when Bitcoin is dead, when is it buy. Surprisingly right now where it is right now at 55.5, Bitcoin is in a fire sale. And if you don't load up while you can at these levels, you will certainly regret it when we go back up to maximum bubble territory. And we may even break out of the top end this time around. This is, if I'm looking at this right, this is projecting Bitcoin to be somewhere around here, which is like maximum bubble territory would put like Bitcoin up to anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million. That's what this is showing. I don't know if Bitcoin could go that high, but if it does, no one's going to be complaining. Now, the smart money, the big money, they are accumulating. They have been accumulating while the small fish has been selling, unfortunately, right? So you look at this since September 1st, so it's only 8 days. 3 whales accumulated 157 million from Binance at an average price of 55,800. So what are they doing? They are loading up, right? Despite the fact that, hey, it's still volatile. There's still uncertainty. There always is. Every cycle, every moment of every cycle, something hits. There's always some FUD. Some large player selling off, or there might be a war that's coming, or there's some kind of black swan event, or now there's like carry trade issues. Every single cycle we deal with something new, something we haven't seen, right? But guess what? Every single cycle, Bitcoin gets stronger, forms a higher high and higher low. A lot of people don't quite seem to understand that. A lot of people come in, they just don't see it. They only see it from top to bottom. They never see anything else. But once you do, once you understand, you realize that Bitcoin is pure. It does not care. It does not have emotions. It doesn't fall for FUD. It only grows and gets stronger because the miners and the people that are holding does so too. And because it has a set supply, and that inflation rate keeps getting cut in half, ultimately the price goes up because there's more demand than supply. It's really that easy to understand.